Every event in life is determined. There is no point in arguing this, because it is an intuition given by determinism itself. To believe or not believe in determinism is already predetermined and cannot be worked upon to change one's opinion. I was determined to write this and the reader to read it. To be a determinist is necessarily to be conscious of the experience of being alive. It is impossible to escape destiny. Yet destiny is so complex that no one can precisely foresee how their existence will unfold from morning to night. No one knows their hour of glory. No one expects the fatal moment. And yet, we are determined. In the face of this ignorance, what difference does it make whether one knows oneself to be a determinist or not? Basically, it lies in the denial of will. But if will is an irremediable illusion, then awareness of reality changes nothing at all, whether one is determinist or not. But then, why do we desire? Why wait for change? Why work in and for change? Above all, why expect anything, not from life, but from ourselves? If will exists, it exists through the gods. Whether there is one or many makes no difference and does not alter the existence of will. But this also presupposes that the gods inhabit or know a non-mechanical reality different from ours. We may call it heaven, Valhalla, Olympus, etc. This must be so because, if we are ordered according to the will of a god, then that God cannot himself be bound to any determination superior to him. Somewhere there must exist a space where reality is not conceived deterministically for will to be possible. Our space clearly is not such a place. The monotonous and predictable celestial movements of the universe prove it, as do the reactive senses of our bodies. This also implies that such entities possess a certain degree of ignorance. That is, the machine is so complex that it forces even the gods to act ex machina. For if a god knows all the future he himself created, why intervene unless that intervention was already planned? If a god repents, then he acknowledges ignorance of himself. We will call miracles those divine interventions arising from repentance or correction, aimed at altering the determined functioning of the great machine. To suppose will is to suppose one or several gods, the existence of a higher non-deterministic plane, and that the deity is not omniscient. If a deity exists, it must possess will, that is, not be bound to determinism. Otherwise it would be a useless deity, as pathetic as we are and unworthy of worship. In this essay, we will suppose the existence of will. Consciousness of truth will then be a relatively fortuitous, previously determined consequence of which divinity may or may not be aware. Whoever does not accept these truths is determined not to accept them. The Christian will determinately believe the truths of the New Testament, the Hebrew, the Torah, the Muslim, the Quran, the Buddhist, whatever it may be, and the atheist, the nothing. The only tangible truth, physically and metaphysically, is that everything is determined to be. I will not work with beliefs, because they are unreliable. Thus, will be assumed, not proven, simply used as a working and acting method. It could just as easily be discarded and things would unfold the same way. The strategic idea of supposing will arises as a method to demonstrate that human will does not exist. If it did, we would not live in a deterministic reality. But that is not the case. Whoever lacks this intuition cannot be convinced by argument or force. If we were not determined, let the sun set in the east. Suppose, however, that tomorrow it does. Aristotelian causes would be sought to explain the phenomenon. The fact that we cannot escape causal thinking, because not even the most fervent egoless Buddhist would go at 2 a.m. to a bakery to buy 18 bananas and 3 Japanese parakeets purely by reasoning or intuition, indicates that we are bound to a causal reality, unless we are gods. But gods cannot live partly in determinism and partly in will. At the slightest trace of determinism, will vanishes because it ceases to be reliable. Will must be 100% reliable, or it is not will. Otherwise, it is bound to circumstances and therefore determined. This idea repulses the human being who is naturally designed to believe in the absence of limits. Those who say we are a program or have been programmed are true optimists. Living beings, particularly humans, are not a single program but a vast conglomerate of programs, a complete operating system. Changing one program does not alter the essence of our being. Changing several may alter appearances, but what assembles those programs? And if we change the operating system, would we not mostly refill it with the old programs? We are overloaded with programs within ourselves and, beyond that, immersed in a social machinery that defines us whether we like it or not. We watch constant traffic outside our windows on a planet whose weather is tied to galactic forces, and yet we pretend change is accessible simply by wishing or feeling it. But if gods can act ex machina, they too are determined. To relate is to be determined. The very concept of relation grounds determinism. Will is only possible in the absence of relation. Therefore, a God who values will would never create a deterministic environment, or would have to destroy or ignore it. Thus, will exists only if something stands above will. Otherwise, it is empty. A sophism. Perhaps a God may stand above will, but this is inconceivable for humans. Will, in our domain, is an illusion. Let us call divine will hyperwill, will freed from illusion and without relation. Only a God accesses hyperwill and can enter and exit determinism intact. Determinism is the experience of will. Will is the illusion of power.